Sunday to you. I hope you're doing well. What does honey and unfaithfulness have in common? Well, today, as we read in our Proverbs 25 and 26, we are going to discover. Hey, I'm Pastor Mark. I'm with Heights Christian Church, and what we are doing is we are going through the Bible in 5 years, and we want to encourage you to subscribe to this channel, be a part of it with us on a daily basis as we read through the scriptures. So today we're going to read Proverbs 25 and 26. So it's a lot to cover, but we'll do our best. You ready? All right, here we go. Proverbs 25. These are more Proverbs of Solomon compiled by the men of Hezekiah, king of Judah. It is glory of God to conceal a matter, to search out a matter is the glory of kings. Verse 3, as the heavens are high and the earth is deep, so the hearts of kings are unsearchable. Remove the dross from the silver, and a silversmith can produce a vessel. Remove wicked officials from the king's presence, and his throne will be established through righteousness. Do not exalt yourself in the king's presence, and do not claim a place among his great men. It is better for him to say to you, come up here, than for him to humiliate you before his nobles. What you have seen with your eyes, do not bring hastily to court. For what will you do in the end if your neighbor puts you to shame? Verse 9, if you take your neighbor to court and do not betray another's confidence, or the one who hears it may shame you, and the charge against you will stand. Like apples of gold and settings of silver is a ruling rightly given. Like an earring of gold and an ornament of fine gold is the rebuke of a wise judge to a listening ear. Like a snow-cooled drink at harvest time is a trustworthy messenger to the one who sends him. He refreshes the spirit of his master. Like clouds and wind without rain is one who boasts of gifts never given. Through patience, a ruler can be persuaded, and a gentle tongue can break a bone. If you find honey, eat just enough, too much of it, and you will vomit. Seldom set foot in your neighbor's house, too much of you, and they will hate you. Like a club or a sword or a sharp arrow is one who gives false testimony against a neighbor. Like a broken tooth or a lame foot is reliance on the unfaithful in time of trouble. Like one who takes away a garment on a cold day, or like vinegar poured on a wound, is one who sings songs to a heavy heart. If your enemy is hungry, give him food to eat. If he is thirsty, give him water to drink. In doing this, you will heap burning coals on his head, and the Lord will reward you. Like a north wind that brings unexpected rain is a sly tongue, which provokes a horrified look. Better to live on a corner of the roof than share a house with a quarrelsome wife. Like cold water to a weary soul is good news from a distant land. Like a muddied spring or a polluted well are the righteous who give way to the wicked. It is not good to eat too much honey, nor is it honorable to search out matters that are too deep. Like a city whose walls are broken through is a person who lacks self-control. Chapter 26. Like snow in summer or rain in harvest, honor is not fitting for a fool. Like a fluttering sparrow or a darting swallow, an undeserved curse does not come to rest. A whip for the horse, a bridle for the donkey, and a rod for the back of fools. Do not answer a fool according to his folly, or you yourself will be just like him. Answer a fool according to his folly, or he will be wise in his own eyes. Sending a message by the hands of a fool is like cutting off one's feet or drinking poison. Like the useless legs of one who is lame is a proverb in the mouth of a fool. Like tying a stone in a sling is the giving of honor to a fool. Like a thorn bush in a drunkard's hand is a proverb in the mouth of a fool. Like an archer who wounds at random is one who hires a fool or any passerby. As a dog returns to its vomit, so fools repeat their folly. Do you see a person wise in their own eyes? There is more hope for a fool than for them. A sluggard says, "There is a lion in the road, a fierce lion roaming the streets." As a door turns on its hinges, so a sluggard turns on his bed. A sluggard buries his hand in the dish. He is too lazy to bring it back to his mouth. A sluggard is wiser in his own eyes than 7 people who answer discreetly. Like one who grabs a stray dog by the ears is someone who rushes into a quarrel not their own. Like a maniac shooting flaming arrows of death is one who deceives their neighbor and says, "I was only joking." Without wood, a fire goes out. Without a gossip, a quarrel dies down. As charcoal to embers, as wood to fire, so is a quarrelsome person in kindling strife. The words of a gossip are like choice morsels, they go down to the inmost parts. Like a coating of silver dross on earthenware are fervent lips with an evil heart. Enemies disguise themselves with their lips, but in their hearts they harbor deceit. Though their speech is charming, do not believe them, for 7 abominations fill their hearts. Their malice may be concealed by deception, but their wickedness will be exposed in the assembly. Whoever digs a pit will fall into it. If someone rolls a stone, it will roll back on them. A lying tongue hates those it hurts, and a flattering mouth works ruin. Wow, so we just read 2 chapters today. We're glad that you were able to be a part of this. I'd like to just look at a few of these things. What Solomon has to say about honey, and what he has to say about unfaithfulness or lack of self-control. Let's look at some of these. Proverbs 25:14, like clouds and wind without rain is a man who boasts of a gift he does not give. And what this is talking about is someone who promises something or says they will do it and then they don't do it. It's like a cloud that looks like it's going to rain but then it never does. And those of us here in New Mexico know what that's all about. There's many clouds that come, not a lot of rain. All right, Proverbs 25:16 says, "If you have found honey, eat only enough for you, lest you have your fill of it and vomit it." Yeah, this is talking about self-control. Honey is a great thing. If you ever had it, it's delicious. But if you eat too much of it, you will get sick. You've got to practice self-control. Only eat enough for you. So this is just what Solomon is talking about. Proverbs 25:19, trusting in a treacherous man in time of trouble is like a bad tooth or a foot that slips. This is talking about being able to depend on someone who is not what they say they are, or someone who is only tells you what you want to hear, and you can't really count on them. And so there's unfaithfulness there. Continuing on in verse 27 and 28 for Proverbs, it is not good to eat much honey, nor is it glorious to seek one's own glory. Again, this is talking about being humble and not trying to make yourself look great. And it's not good to eat too much honey. I mean, so again, talking about unfaithfulness, self-control. A man without self-control, verse 28 says, is like a city broken into and left without walls. And so we see these things that what Solomon is telling the people is that, you need to be a man of your word. You need to be faithful what you say. Otherwise, people will not be able to count on you. You will be like a cloud that doesn't bring rain. And you need to do that. And you have to practice that self-control. He uses honey in a couple of examples to talk about practicing self-control, being able to speak your words and say what you really mean. Hey, let me tell you what Jesus said about this very thing. He said this in chapter 5:37 during the Sermon on the Mount. But let your yes be yes and your no, no. For whatever is more than these is from the evil one. And so today, let's start practicing saying the things we can do and we can accomplish. If we say we're going to do something, we need to do it. And if we want to say no, we mean no. So this is something that's really trying to be encouraging. And so the last thing I want to say is talking Isaiah 57:15. For thus says the high and lofty one, who inhabits eternity, whose name is holy. I dwell in the high and holy place, with him who has a contrite and humble spirit, to revive the spirit of the humble and to revive the heart of the contrite ones. Listen, we are the ones that we need to be humble. We need to be contrite. We need to be able to admit when we're wrong. We need to practice self-control and humility. This is something that we need to practice. And so those are my words for encouragement for you. I hope that you have an amazing day, and we will talk to you tomorrow.